What's up with the Bible?
Made note of some of the passages that interest me. Atrocities such as murder, rape, slavery, and sexism.
Can I take a look at that?
Sure.
Kind of breaking the Bible down and showing us all the negativity that's within it.
Well, you kind of have to take the Bible as a whole. Either it's partially correct or it's completely correct. I mean,
because some people say it's the infallible divine word, and they believe it. You know, God said it, they believe it, but there's things in there that don't jive. You know, with the
Right. I understand. So, is there any consistencies you notice in the Bible, or is the New Testament different from the Old Testament in any way that you've seen?
well, obviously the New Testament is derived from the Old Testament.
Right.
But also the Old Testament has significantly more errors than the New Testament. But there's also some passages within the New Testament that are just as disagreeable as the passages in the Old.
So what you're basically saying is you don't believe in God because of all these tabs on his book.
Well,
If this is a good book, it shouldn't have so much rape, slavery, sexism, and murder in it.
well, not just for the Bible. The only reason the Bible, I mean, this is only good for disproving the concept of a Christian God. I mean, if you want to talk about any kind of God, really it's the lack of any kind of evidence that sells me on that aspect.
Right. I mean, you know, they say faith. That's what faith is, the evidence of things not seen. But that's cool. Rose, what about marriage? What do you feel about the marriage institution? I'm just kind of switching the topics up here because it's very, they basically consider it to be holy matrimony.
well, I think that the government should get out of the business of marriage. Marriage can be whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
But it's whatever, you know, that's between you and God, you and your partner. I think that the government ought to get out of the business of marriage and only issue civil partnerships. Just contracts, official contracts, because government shouldn't be in our lives to that extent to tell you, you can marry this person, you can marry that person. If you're a grown person, you should be free to enter into a civil union with whoever you want. And then if your church wants to bless your marriage, that's great. That's between you and your church and you and God.
Okay. Any questions for me? I'm a believer in God. I think I can speak for a lot of people.
I just wanted to say, my position is that we don't know.
Right, okay.
I can't say whether there is or not. So really, maybe I should be labeled as an agnostic.
Right.
Because honestly, we don't know. You could be right. I could be right. We just each have to live how we believe based on the evidence that we have. And, you know, if you want to pray and that makes you feel better, go for it. You know, who am I to tell you that if it has a benefit for you, then do it. You know, I think there are, you know, medical benefits, you know, to meditating, and, you know, for some people meditating includes prayer. So I think everybody should do what they feel is right for them and not be pressured by groupthink to be put in a certain box.
Cameraman, why don't you come a little closer and we could just have a little quick, to the public, you're a good person, Rose. Do you believe you? Why don't you look in the camera and tell them that you're an atheist and you're a good person?
Well, since we were just talking about non-labeling, I'm a free-thinking, agnostic, secular humanist, possibly atheist, maybe definitely atheist. So I'm just, you know, I don't want to wear one particular label, but...
Well, I'm a Christian. He's an atheist. She's something like an atheist, very close to being an atheist. I'm a good person. I know she's a good person. I believe he's a good person. We're all people, and that's really the point I'm trying to make in the show.
You left him out. What about him?
Oh, don't worry about him. Don't worry about him back. He's a good person too. Personally,
He helps me out all the time doing this show. I just wanted to tell everyone out there, even as Christians, as I represent the Christian community to a certain extent, I think that we should open our hearts and our eyes to our brothers and our sisters wherever we are around the world, and just know the most important thing is that we are human beings, we have feelings and emotions, and hey, I love you, man. Thanks, bro. Thanks, brother. Just try to stick to morality and ethics, right? Is that something y'all, I know that's something y'all stick close to.
Yeah, I've found, you know, and now this is just my experience. Everyone's experience could be different, but I used to go to a charismatic fundamentalist church, late 70s, early 80s, long time ago. But I found that, once I started doubting and I became an atheist, I find that atheists tend to be more honest with themselves and tend to be more moral.
Doug Stewart, he was on the last show, I think you remember him. And we have my good friend, James. This is James. James is a philosophy student, and philosophy, I think, is at the very root of the argument between atheism and religion. Go all the way back to the Big Bang. We know in philosophy there's a reason for everything. Everything must have a reason in philosophy. And even just the name of reason, a day of reason, everything has to do with this word reason when we deal with atheism here. Okay, what was the reason for the Big Bang?
Wow, now that's a big philosophical. The reason was so you and me could be sitting here having this discussion, because if it didn't happen, then we wouldn't have this opportunity, would we?
That is the best answer I heard ever. NOSHA, New Orleans Secular Humanist Association. Are you a humanist?
Yes.